What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Hills Are Silent podcast, where we like to chop it up about the games of yesterday, today, and tomorrow. I myself am Two-Tone the Artist.
And I am Mitch the Peach.
So, got a few good topics. Mitch has some pickups that I'm excited to see because I have no idea what he got. Also, we had the Xbox showcase recently. Man, killer lineup of games that were revealed and talked about during the showcase, and I'm super hyped about a lot of them. It just seems like a lot of these showcases just really haven't been hitting it for me, but man, Xbox knocked it out of the park, so I'm excited to talk about that. Mitch just beat Nier Automata, I think is how you say it, so I'm interested in hearing about that as well. Yeah, so it's going to be a good episode. Let's roll into it. Mitch, open up that game bag, man. Let me see what you got.
All right, so I'll save my good one for last, but this is an easy one. It fell off Game Pass, and I still want to play with my good buddy John. It's the one that we've kind of been playing when we do get online together, but it is Back 4 Blood.
Okay.
Fell off Game Pass. I saw it on eBay for $6, so I said, okay, I mean, at that point, why not? I already owned the season pass stuff, and that's the stuff we want to go to next because we beat all of the base content in the game. This game gets a lot of flack, but I actually enjoyed the story and I guess not the story as much as just the gameplay and the little differences that they had from the Left 4 Dead series, but it still has that it scratches that Left 4 Dead itch for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And I played that with my buddy Dario based on your recommendation. And I'm sad to hear it's no longer on Game Pass because that's what I was playing it on. And yeah, it was a blast. I don't know why it got any hate because it felt like a proper sequel to Left 4 Dead
I think
to
so.
me. Yeah, there was some weirdness with like the card system that I think made the game a little more complicated than it needed to be. And it's shuffled things up because not only do you have cards to buff your character, but there's also random cards at the start of every level that can basically hinder you. It could be like a card where you'll encounter more boss enemies or something. And there were some really, really bad cards that will screw you over. There was one ridiculous one where it was like the more money you had, the slower your character moves. And I was like, this is so bogus. And there's another one that like crippled a couple times. We just had to restart a level because we just got screwed, and there's no way we were going to beat it with those level cards that go against you.
Yeah, I can see how that's like that, not the same formula. It's a bit of a different swing, but you know me, I love card games. So anything that introduces some sort of card mechanic, I'm kind of okay with it. So I feel like I got the hang of that stuff as far as getting the cards to like fill out your deck and buff your character. I feel like I got into that pretty quick, at least understood the mechanics and what I needed to do. And it's kind of cool. You could actually build synergies with all the cards in one deck to make your character pretty overpowered as well, which is cool. But I understand people gripe about it. They just want, the game to be, just slaying zombies without any extra stuff in the background. But
yeah, that's me. And sometimes when I go back to play older video games before all these crazy like skill trees and card deck based skill stuff became commonplace, when I play all those old games that preceded that, it can be refreshing. Like, hey, like you said, I'm just shooting zombies. That's all I got to worry about. Like, don't have to sit there and read every last card in this like huge stack or read through like this crazy skill tree. And especially with skill trees like going all the way to the bottom because there's like multiple paths. It's like, okay, like I have to like my way backwards because I ultimately want this one at the very bottom. Anyway, what were you gonna say?
I just wonder like that issue could be solved if they just maybe introduced a game mode that just got rid of the card system. So it's just like, okay, you can choose a path. Like, do you want to play with the cards involved, or you just want to, hack and slash without any sort of buffs or nerfs or anything like that? I don't know.
Yeah, and
I don't think they're doing any work on it now, but if they were still working on it, that could have been something to consider.
Yeah, and in that game's defense, they do allow you to just like pick a pre-built deck, which I think is
Yeah.
what me and Dario were doing most of the time.
Yeah. And that pre-built deck does the job.
Yeah.
Moving on to my next one, and Mike and I love collections, and I actually went with the Metal Gear Solid collection for Xbox Series X. This one kept dropping in price. I think I ended up getting it for like $20,
Oh, nice.
which I think is great for 3 games that I've never played any of these in the Metal Gear series. It's one
What?
series that I've never really touched for whatever reason. I don't know why. I just never got to it. So it was kind of a good. This will be definitely a good intro into me playing the series, and we'll talk about later. They are remaking Metal Gear Solid 3 on the new consoles and PC, I believe. So
which 3 games are in that collection?
yeah, it is Metal Gear Solid 2, Sons of Liberty, and then Metal Gear Solid 3, Snake Eater.
Okay. Yeah, I beat the first one and second one. Both really good games. I still have to play through the third one, and I definitely have to play through it before this remake drops, because I'm really hyped about that.
Yeah, same. All right, and then now the beefy boy. I want to thank my good friend Ria. She actually gifted this to me, which is insanely generous of her. But I have got the limited edition Baldur's Gate 3 physical edition, which is only available if you pre-order. It was only like a select amount if you pre-ordered it, and this thing is monstrous. It is. I'm actually going to open it on here and show you everything that's in here, because it's
Nice. I remember you told me that was coming your way. Like, it seems like months ago.
yeah. They kept sending updates saying, "Hey, I'm sorry, some snag with their, with shipment of some sort. Obviously there's so much stuff to go into like putting this together and shipping it out, and they kept apologizing, and then finally I think like a couple weeks ago I got this. So yeah, it's kind of like shaped like a book, which is cool. To start out, we've got, I don't even know what the heck this is. It looks like maybe it looks like we got a map of the whole entire game, which is pretty nuts. This is a massive game with so much detail, so I can't even imagine the work that they put into it. Let's see what else we got here. This looks like an entire poster or print or something or along those lines. Let's see here. Oh yeah, here we go. A big what's around here.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I can maybe frame this up and.
Dude, it's like a Cthulhu monster.
Yeah, I've not played any of this yet, so I don't know who these characters are or anything. But this is pretty cool. I
Yeah, that actually is a pretty
cool
poster. Even having never played the game, that's a cool poster.
Yeah. Moving on, we've got some stickers, of course.
Yeah, they always throw some stickers in there.
There's like a ton of stickers. Like these ones are funny.
And they got little baby character stickers.
Yeah.
So
man,
random.
they got a ton of stickers on here. Like
Even more stickers? Dang.
Yeah. Some cute. Look at these cute little dragons and burlings. I don't know what that brain guy is. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, I don't know.
What's this one? Oh yeah, this one's just like the traditional with the Baldur's Gate logo, the Larian Studios.
Yeah.
There's the Cuckoo. That's kind of cool. Definitely decorate my water bottles. Some of these. And then we actually bring out the game itself. Actually, before the game, oh man, there's more. Holy crap! There's the complete original soundtrack,
Okay.
which is 3-disc soundtrack. Looks like 43 songs in total.
Dang.
Which that's pretty insane. I don't even think I have anything to play with a CD player anymore, but that's cool. And now we
Sad but
have some
true.
patches too. It looks like.
Yeah, not surprised.
I feel like patches are a big thing on
Yeah.
the in the collector's editions. I think I have one in the. We were looking at my Halo ones that I have, and there's some patches in there. Other than that, I think that's it. I'm actually going to open up the game itself because I guess the interesting thing is this game is so large that it is 3 discs.
Dang.
on Xbox, which I think is wild. Probably the only downfall of getting it physical, where I have to actually at some point get up and go switch out the disc, but
Yeah. Hey,
kind of
man.
reminds me of my childhood with doing that same exact thing, you know?
Exactly. I remember doing that on PlayStation 1. Yeah, it's nothing new. All right, while you're struggling with that, I just
Yeah,
remembered
sure.
I actually have some
Okay.
pickups I can talk about.
All right, yeah,
So
go
let me
for
grab
it.
these real quick.
Hold everyone, I am opening up this game. My cat is in the camera chilling because she is curious about everything that I've opened up so far. And they wrap this like crazy. Interesting way they packaged it. So they have one disc here, but then they put the other two discs like in the sleeve, like in like basically in the sleeve in the on the side of the game. So it's like they tucked these in here.
They're like, we're not making a custom case for this. That's too much. You're asking too much of us. We'll just stuff them in here.
I thought they originally were doing that, where they were it was like going to be like a stack thing, where it's like a little space and they stack one on top of each other type thing.
I've seen that done.
Apparently they said forget that. Yeah, but that's all I got. The last one I thought this was the coolest one. I'm excited to dive in and play this. I've heard incredibly good things about it. So
yeah, same here. All right, man. For me, I think the last pickup video we did, I talked about picking up Command and Conquer 3 Tiberium Wars on the Xbox 360, and I picked up this and the standalone expansion on Xbox 360. Well, I went to play it and realized it was the PAL version. It was the European version. And it would not play on my Xbox 360.
Oh, no.
So I was salty about that. So here's the thing. Most consoles today are region free, but it used to be that consoles were locked to games in their region. And the PlayStation 3 was region free, but the Xbox 360 was only partially region free. So there are a handful of games you can get from other regions that will in fact play on a North American Xbox 360, but unfortunately Command & Conquer 3 was not one of them. So I don't know how that game even ended up at this used game store.
Yeah, that's wild.
But the crazy thing is, all right, so I saw that when I was buying the game, I saw there was a PAL version and a North American version. So I picked up the North American case, brought it to the counter, and then what I didn't realize is that when the person got the disc from behind the counter, they got the PAL one and put it in the North American case I had brought up. So anyway, I went back to the store, got the actual right version, and that was that. And I also picked up Command & Conquer 3 Red Alert on Xbox 360, just to kind of round it out and have all the Command & Conquer games on Xbox 360. All right, next, I'm always on the hunt for Kinect games, and I do have like one or two of the dance games, but I realized I did not have the hip-hop dance experience. I think I just have like one of the Just Dances or something. And you know me, I love getting these physical games that have music on them, like Guitar Hero, Rock Band, Dance Central, because all the licensed music is on the disc. Whereas if you buy them digital, eventually they may strip the soundtracks out as they lose the license to the songs. But man, this has a banging soundtrack, and I'm not the best at these dance games, but I'll give it a shot. And last but not least, I got Sid Meier's Civilization Revolution for the Xbox 360. And I was kind of on the fence about grabbing this because I'm not the hugest Civilization fan. And I know that this console version is more of like a stripped down kind of arcade version.
Yeah. It's a good version for people that don't want to do the deep dive into getting very lost in the Civ world. Like it can get it can get too much, really.
Exactly. So maybe this like watered down version is more up my alley. But one of the main reasons I picked it up is because this lives and dies on the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3. They never released a PC version of this, and it's never been remastered or remade. So, yeah, the only way you can get it is to get a copy on Xbox 360 or PlayStation 3. And with the digital marketplace shutting down for the Xbox 360, man, physical copies, that's going to be it in a month from now.
Yeah. I'm wondering if it is backwards. It might be backwards compatible on the Xbox. I feel like I've seen it on my Xbox, but I'm not positive on that.
Okay. That's true.
That'd be
A
cool
lot
if
of
it
that
was.
stuff may stick around if it's backwards compatible. I do know that.
But not everything is.
Yeah, I do know that some of it has been shifted forward to the Xbox One store, and it's probably going to live on in that form.
Mhm.
Anyway, yeah, just some quick pickups. I mean, man, each of these was like $5, so
Nice.
just some little cheapos to grab when I was
Yep.
out and about. All right, man, that is it for our pickups. Now, I've got some games I've been playing recently. I'll probably save that for the next episode because I haven't finished them yet. But you have finished a game recently, and man, you play these huge games. I'm pretty sure this is another open world game that was what, dozens and dozens of hours to get through. You want to talk about this one?
Yeah, I think it took me 35 hours in total to
Okay,
beat.
that's not as bad as I thought you were gonna say. Did you go through all the
Not-
DLC as well?
I did not.
Okay.
I don't know if the DLC is really DLC or if it's more like stuff like side stuff within like your playthrough as you're going through it, like more side quests or something like that. So I don't know if it's like if there's not like a way like you just boot up like the DLC in itself. It's more like you kind of, so maybe I did run into some and I didn't know that I played it. It could have been different missions that I did that I wasn't aware of. So maybe, but just to start from the beginning, I played on my Xbox Series X. I played the Become as Gods edition, which does include all of the DLC, as well as if you want to dress one of the characters up to look very sexy, you can certainly do that. That is one of the I think that is a big draw for some people. That was not for me, but I let them wear their original outfits because it kind of more fit the I guess the story and the seriousness of the topic at hand. It's a 2017 action role-playing game that's developed by Platinum Games and published by the people that I always respect, Square Enix. It's a sequel to Nier 2010, and itself is a spin-off of the Drakengard series, which I'm not familiar with. Mike, are you familiar with the Drakengard?
I've heard of it, but I've never played it.
I guess they are in the same world, but different timelines or something along those lines. They apparently are connected in some way. But Nier Automata itself is set during a proxy war between alien-created machines and human-created androids. And you yourself focus on 3 characters throughout your playthrough. It's a combat android named 2B, a scanner android named 9S, and then a rogue prototype which is named A2. And Mike, I know you mentioned Yorha is kind of called, I think it's called Yorha Become as Gods Edition is the name of the actual deluxe edition. But Yorha is the name of the collective army of androids that were created by what they call the Council of Humanity to fend off what seemed like a ton of a complete army of hostile alien force that invaded Earth thousands of years ago. So basically, all that is on Earth now are these androids that are going and that are trying to fend off all these machines that have inhabited Earth. The humans were assumed by the androids to now be inhabited on the moon. So they're trying to basically defend. The androids' mindset is they're going to go and defend Earth. They're going to make Earth livable again for the humans, and the humans can come back from the moon. So the Yorha android forces are commanded by the bunker, which is this area that's in space outside of the Earth, but it orbits Earth, and it's basically their job is to fend off the machines, and then their collective force is known as the Resistance. So a pretty like deep, like crazy like topic. It got me hooked in right away. The story is wild, but the interesting thing that Nier does is it's a story that requires multiple playthroughs, basically. So with each playthrough, it reveals more of the story. Your first portion, you play as 2B, who's the combat android. And then you go back, and it's basically, this was kind of the hardest part for me to get through, because basically you're playing the same story again, but it's almost like a remix of the same story that you just played, but it's a little faster.
That was going to be my question. So you actually did go through and play it again?
Yes, I went through it and played it again, because I mean that is all inclusive of the 30 plus hours. Okay. It wasn't just, basically they call it playthroughs, but essentially it's 5 chapters, I would say. But they call them playthroughs because you're kind of replaying the same content, but kind of not.
So you played through it 5 times, essentially?
No, so the first playthrough you play through is 2B. She's the combat android, and that's when you get introduced to the world. You go through the entire storyline. The second part you play as 9S, who accompanies 2B throughout the whole first playthrough, but there's some portions where he does other things aside from what 2B does, and you get to see those different aspects of the story, but sometimes there is a lot of the portions of the story that overlap. So that there was 2 playthroughs, 1 and 2, that were kind of the same thing, but there was slight differences. Playthrough 3 is when you are now the rogue android, A2, and her story, while basically you're on the same timeline as the first and second playthrough, you're doing a whole other story because it's her point of view, and you're not with them at all. You're not with 2B or 9S throughout any of that time, except for a very short period. So playthrough 3 or chapter 3 was completely different from anything else. But then playthrough 4 and playthrough 5 are really just you go back into a chapter select, and you make one choice, and then you make a second choice. And so basically it's only the last 2 playthroughs are really just you picking, I don't want to spoil it, but you pick a side, and you pick one side, and that is that end, and then you go back and do the same battle, and then pick the other side, and then that's the end of that ending. So you get like 5 different endings per se, and then it gets you, if you beat all of those endings, you get a secret ending at the end, which is basically the actual ending of the game. So I don't think they call them 5 endings or 5 playthroughs, but it's more like you kind of play through it 2 times with slight differences, and then everything else is just new content.
Okay.
Because I was intimidated at first, like going into this game, because people kept saying, oh, you have to play through it 5 times to get the true ending. And I was like, well, I don't know if I want to do the same thing 5 times. And then I looked into it a little bit more, and it was very much not what I was thinking it was.
Is it an open world game, or is it a linear game?
It's an open world game. So it is, you're always in the same, throughout the whole playthrough, you're basically in the same areas. Like there's different, but you can kind of fast travel around to them as you get farther into the game, which makes it much easier to do the main quest. There's also side quests. It's very much like an open world RPG with more hack and slash combat and some role playing elements as well.
Yeah, it looks pretty awesome. The massive robot boss battles look epic. I do see the hack and slash gameplay, watching the gameplay footage, and I also saw stuff that looked like 3D bullet hell shooter, where you're dodging slow moving projectiles and having to attack between them.
Yeah, it's very much like a hybrid of that hack and slash when you're on the ground. When you're in the air, you're in a mech essentially that turns from like it's really cool. Like it starts at the very beginning of the game, it puts you into this portion where you are a plane for part of it, like a gunner plane, but then your plane transitions into a mech where you're like basically it it's a different type of bullet hell from a different angle. So like they change like perspectives of how you're shooting at these like other robot ships. It's really cool. Yeah, and there's boss battles that are in the air. There's boss battles that are on the ground doing the hack and slash. The character 9S, he's actually not a combat drone or a combat android. He's more of a what do they call him? He's a scanner android, so he can hack. So his main sense of doing combat is through hacking, and the hacking portion is a whole other like actual like combat in the game, which is interesting. And so like your second playthrough, you play as him, and you're not really doing a lot of hack and slash. You're actually just hacking a lot of the time to get through all these enemies. So it is a different sort of playthrough in itself. They put so many like it's an open world RPG, but they put so many different, almost feels like games within games. Like you said, it can go from bullet hell to hack and slash to puzzle to I don't know. There's just so many different layers to it, and there's so many different layers to the story itself and the way they connect it together at the end. There's a reason why it's one of the most critically acclaimed, JRPGs of all time at this point, and it did not disappoint. I was curious if I was supposed to play Nier Replicant, which basically was the Nier storyline wise came before Nier Automata, but basically people said if you just jumped into Nier Automata, you were fine. I felt like I was fine. I got the gist of the story. I understood what happened before it. Yeah, it was an amazing game. I was hooked on it. I burned through it quickly. Yeah, I mean, can't recommend it enough.
All right. I'll have to check that one out. Like I said, I picked it up on PS4 for like $5 a while back, so I need to play through that.
Definitely worth that.
All right, man. Let's talk about the Xbox Showcase. We've got a lot of games to go over. I'll just knock this one out real quick. This game called Mecha Break. I didn't even remember seeing a reveal trailer for that, but this looks right up my alley. It just looks like an awesome mech game where you customize your mech and then just roam around in a 3D environment shooting. Did you watch the trailer for this?
I didn't. I probably did, but I'm not sure which. What was the game called again?
Mecha Break.
Oh, yes, I did. Yep. Yeah, and that does look really cool too. I mean, there's so many like new properties that they've introduced that seem just really awesome ideas, and this definitely being one of them.
Yeah, this one your mech's like transforming to a jet and you're flying around shooting, and it just looks fast paced and epic.
They don't have a lot of these either within like I guess this genre is not something that you see like a whole lot of, especially like I think it's like a competitive type game or a team-based competitive maybe. I'm not certain,
right.
but
is Mecha Break is a multiplayer mech game that allows players to choose from diverse mechs, customize appearances, and battle colossal war machines on treacherous terrain. Get ready for the ultimate showdown. Blitz, Brawl, Blaze. Anyway, just want to highlight that one real quick because
yeah, it's pretty cool.
I think that one has the potential of being pretty interesting. Another quick hitter is Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, which is being developed by, I believe, Machine Games, the ones that have been making the Wolfenstein games as of recently. And I don't know, man. I think their stuff is usually really good, and this could be a good game.
The trailer that they showed, it has that goofy like charm that that they put into those Wolfenstein games at certain points, like a super serious topic of like killing Nazis, and then they just have some like some goof in there that they kind of do the same thing with Indiana Jones, and they really highlight that in the trailer that they showed at the Xbox showcase.
Yeah, it's an interesting transition because there are some parallels between Wolfenstein and Indiana Jones for sure. But also, we've gotten so many games in the past based on Indiana Jones. Like, Tomb Raider was inspired by Indiana Jones. Uncharted was inspired by Indiana Jones. So, and we've had Indiana Jones games in the past. I think there's one on like Nintendo 64. I think there was one on the OG Xbox, if I'm not mistaken.
Lego did a lot of them.
Yeah, also Lego did too. I think there was 2 Indiana Jones Lego games. And so it's just, I don't know, a big AAA one. This could be good, and the story could be good as well. So I'm looking forward to this one as well.
I was looking for more Wolfenstein because I really was hoping they would finish the trilogy of those games that they were making, because I loved the first 2 of the most recent reboot. But I'll play through this one too, because it'll definitely scratch that itch, because they have a certain style and it looks really cool.
Yeah. All right, man. That's the 2 I wanted to highlight. Oh, and The Perfect Dark. I just kept hearing that this game was just stuck in development hell, so I was completely shocked when they had a trailer for it. And
it
you
looks
and I,
crispy.
yeah, it does. It looks really good. So you and I played the not so great Perfect Dark Zero on Xbox 360. We co-opted it just a few years ago.
Yeah.
And of course, the beloved N64 version. But yeah, it's just, I never thought I'd see the day that this sequel, I mean, it still hasn't come out yet, but to get this reveal trailer, I mean, they must be pretty confident that it's coming our way. And it said Crystal Dynamics is working on it? Okay.
There's gameplay in it too, and it looks like it is actual. So it's coming. It's just a matter of when.
Yeah. I mean, it looks good. The art style looks good. It's...
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm really interested about this one. So I'm kind of getting some Deus Ex vibes, because it's just that kind of cyberpunk first-person look to it. I don't know, but I definitely want to get my hands on this one and check it out. All right, man. And we already talked about Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater remake. I mean, we don't even have to really go into this one. All I'm going to say is the trailer looked great. And I know Hideo Kojima is not attached to this, but it's a remake, so it's not like...
Yeah, he doesn't really need to...
Yeah, you're covering ground that's already been laid, so it's not like an original story, so I don't know how big of a deal that is that he's not involved. I still think it can be really good.
I wonder if that leads to, I mean, them doing this, if it's popular, if it does well, do they then think about making a new one at that point? Because it has been a while since they've made a new one.
Yeah, if you really think about it, Phantom Pain came out like 2015 or something?
Let's see.
And that was 9 years ago. That's hard to believe that 2015 was 9 years ago.
Date. Yeah, September 1st, 2015. Right on the money, Mike.
Whew, man, time flies by. But
yeah, I had just graduated college then. That's crazy to think about.
Yeah. Anyway, man, I'll let you talk about the other 2. Oh, what else we got next?
Yeah, so we have one that we both like and both have played a couple of the games within the franchise. We have got Doom: The Dark Ages, which I think is pretty crazy looking. And man, watching that trailer, Mike, did you see some of those guns that he had? Not even guns. He had like shields, and but the one I wanted to highlight was the gun that I think he like grinded up some of their teeth.
It was the bone, yeah. He put a skull in it, and it just like grinded up and shot the skull fragments at the enemies.
Oh my gosh, like pure craziness, like. And then it looked like there was almost some like parrying combat with like the shield that he had that was like you could also swing, and like and kill people with as well. Um, so I should just hit play on the trailer and watch it.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, dude. First of all, the id Tech engine, man, looks gorgeous, runs like butter on everything. That is like pure. That game engine is pure magic, and these developers of these Doom games are just taking it and just using it to its full potential to make just really badass games. And this whole medieval setting,
Yeah, really cool setting.
I mean, dude, that is genius. That is genius. I love Doom 2016. Doom Eternal, I don't know. It was a good game, but I just didn't love it like everybody else did. But I'm super psyched about this one because this just looks badass.
Yeah, they took everything good about this game and that about 2016 and Eternal. I think they just doubled down on it and then introduced some other really cool weapons. Like I'm watching right now. They had the one where he had the spike ball on the chain that he's just swinging at people too, and like
Yeah, and they got you getting in a giant like Megazoid and fighting a giant demon.
yeah,
And then they've got you riding on the back of a dragon, like just crazy, crazy reveal. I mean, they knew that this game is awesome, and they're just like,
yeah,
they're like, throw it all in the trailer, man. It's gonna speak for
Yeah.
itself that we are going all out with this game.
yeah. They're impressive. They're insanely impressive team, and yeah, that one that's a day one play for me. I'm gonna or very soon after release for sure.
Yeah, and it says play day one with Game Pass coming 2025. So
And that one, I think even PlayStation users get to play. It's going to come to PlayStation, from my understanding. Which I mean, yeah, good for that. I mean, not everything. We've already beaten this to death, but not everything needs to be, exclusive to one area. Play games where you can play games. They should be accessible to all. Give me more Final Fantasy, please. Take it from PlayStation and put it on the Xbox or PC, anywhere, please.
yeah. All right, man. Last but not least, let's bring it home. Which I don't know about you, but I was
Yes.
not expecting another Gears of War reveal.
I was expecting Gears, but I wasn't expecting this Gears. This blew me away in all the best ways. Yeah, going back and doing a prequel and being able to play as the dynamic duo of Marcus Phoenix and Dom, like, pretty awesome. I mean, and it's a pretty great reveal trailer too. I know people who have listened to the pod have seen us talk about our favorite game trailers, and they definitely paid homage to their original Gears of War 1 trailer. We're putting the Mad World soundtrack in the background to really give us a throwback to the glory days of Gears of War 1. I thought that was such a good touch. Everything they did in this trailer, fantastic. People are hyped from everything I've seen on social media, and I'm hyped.
Yeah, I'm hyped too. I mean, ever since I saw the opening cinematic of Gears of War 1, where it kind of shows the day that the Locusts rose above ground and started the whole war, I've always thought they need to make a prequel. Like, that needs to be the setting for the game. Like, that whole emergence, the fear of just, man, there are these monsters living underneath us this whole time and they're invading us. That's what's trippy about Gears of War. There's so many games and movies about aliens invading from other planets that an invasion from within is very fresh, a very fresh take. But man, yeah, this looks absolutely crazy. And then he falls through the floor, and then it just reveals the pit down into the Locust world. Yeah.
I was reading something where the developers were talking about how they wanted to make Gears of War the enemies more scary again. They stopped being so, like, threatening as the games have gone by, or like look as threatening.
Yeah, and also the games got more colorful as they went on. Like,
Yeah.
the first game was very dark and gritty, and then it got more colorful, and then I think the fourth one they introduced, like, blue robots or something you were fighting, and like you I know you and I played through the fifth one. Neither of us can remember who we played through the fourth one with, so maybe we played through that one as well together. And those are both great games, but they're just a blur to me. Like, they were fun, the mechanics are great, I enjoyed myself the whole way through. But if you were to ask me what the plot was, or just if you were like, tell me about one level in Gears of War 5, I couldn't. I just don't remember. It's just something about it just did not stick with me like the original Gears of War game did.
Well, like with the Gears of War 1 game, I vividly still remember when, it shocked me to my core when it happened, when Carmine, one of the grunts within Gears of War 1, gets his head knocked off with the sniper in one of the opening levels, and it was just like, holy crap. So they're just going to start taking out characters that they're introducing here left and right, and it was a lot of intense moments like within Gears of War 1 that was like revolutionary for its time.
Yeah, Gears of War 1 was brutal. From the campaign to the multiplayer, it was just like this visceral, brutal feel. You can tell Epic Games had just come off the Unreal games, and they were bringing everything they learned into that. And I think that was a magical moment, because they were transitioning from the Unreal games to this new Gears IP, but also still kind of bringing the soul of that over. And then Gears of War 2 was even bigger and better. Gears of War 3 was great, but then it started to feel like it was treading the same ground again. Then Gears of War Judgment was totally just like recycled and just unoriginal. And Gears of War 4, they took a while between Gears of War Judgment and Gears of War 4, and it was nice to jump back in, but at that point it just felt like a completely different game. It just felt like it was likely all new people working on it, and didn't quite have the same feel. So this trailer leads me to believe it's like going back to form.
Is it 4 when they transitioned to the Coalition, instead of Epic?
Oh, you're right. It did change developers, so no wonder it felt like so different.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So I think it's cool too, because Cliffy B, who's obviously, we've talked about him in the pod before, very big. He had a very big stamp on the Gears of War franchise. He was talking on Twitter and answering questions, and he was super excited about this too. He's like, man, love the direction they're going. This is perfect. He's like, tell people on Twitter, because everybody on Twitter was yelling at him to like try and like go in and help out the studio and give his ideas. And he's like, see guys, they didn't need me at all. They got this taken care of. Like, yeah, don't worry about it.
It looks cool, man. I'm hyped for this one. This has got me wanting to go back and play through some old Gears games, just in anticipation for this.
Same. I'm excited for this too, because they, from what Cliffy B was saying on Twitter, like it's actually going to, it's also a story of how the Lancer was created, essentially, like how the chainsaw got onto the gun, why they did that in the first place. Because like we all know, the Lancer was, the chainsaw with the Lancer was just something that was it was already on there in Gears of War 1. So it'd be cool to see the origin story of that too. That's such an iconic weapon.
Yeah. All right, man. I think those are the games we wanted to highlight from the Xbox Showcase. Any last words on any of this?
Nope, nothing from me.
All right, man. Let's wrap it up there. Thanks everybody for tuning in. You can find all our episodes on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts. Where else can they find us, Mitch?
Yep, you can find us on our Twitter at Hills Are Silent. Our Instagram is Instagram/Hills Are Silent. Our TikTok is at the Hills Are Silent podcast. And then our YouTube again is at the Hills Are Silent. If you have any questions, comments, anything at all, hit us up on our email inbox, hillsaresilent@gmail.com, or our Spotify comments, YouTube comments. We'll find them. And as always, we'll catch you on the next episode.